What's up, guys? My name is Joe, for those of you that don't know me, and today, like we have been for the past week, I'm going to be sharing my testimony with you. My testimony is a bit odd, but I feel like everyone is special in their own way when it comes to it, so let's get into mine. It started when I was about 9 years old. I was diagnosed with diabetes, and that just means your body can't break down carbs the way someone else's typically can. Bit of a curveball at 9 years old because you really don't know what's going on. You're kind of just having to listen to the people around you, being like, okay, I'll do this, okay, I'll do that. I didn't really have a grasp on it at that age. Um, so yeah, definitely a big turning point in my life. Something that I couldn't see at the time, but definitely was a blessing in disguise. And that I feel like is a big theme of my testimony: how God can take the craziest and sometimes darkest situations and turn them into the brightest ones. Um, so yeah, diagnosed with diabetes. Fast forward about like 3 years, my mom told me she wanted me to attend a diabetic summer camp, which is exciting as it sounds. Sorry you hear a plane going by right now, but it was, again, I could honestly say, another blessing in disguise, because when I got there at that camp, I was very reluctant, very shy, didn't want to talk to a lot of people, but by the time I came out of it, I definitely understood my diabetes more, and I made some pretty great friends that I really didn't expect to have. One of those friends being Michaela Zeman. Some of you might know her, some of you might not. It's okay. But she brought me into True North at my third year at the camp. So I was probably like a counselor in training by then. And I just got into high school, so I was a freshman. And she was like, "Oh no, come to this youth group. It'll be so great. Like, they're so fun. Everyone's so loving and kind." And I was like, "All right, sure." And so I did, again, with my mom's influence. And I could honestly say that night changed my life because of how welcoming and how kind and how generous everyone seemed to be. I was like, wow, I'm not really used to this. This is a nice change of pace, you know? So, got into the church. Definitely skipped a few times when I first started coming because I was still reluctant, but also at the same time very curious. So it's weird to see how those parallel with where I am now. So basically, I got into church my freshman year of high school, and it's been changing the way I think for all 4 years now because I'm a senior now, and I don't think I would have gone through high school the way I did without the influence of God in my life, because every situation I was faced with, I would say, okay, I don't want to live for the way people think. I don't care what other people think. And I think the reason I was able to think that way was because I was introduced to God at such a not vulnerable but open state in my life. Because, when you're a freshman, you're just trying to fit in. You're trying to get people's approval. You're trying to make as many friends as you possibly can. You want to be cool. You want to be popular. You want to be seen as that kid, And I was that kid, and I was viewed well in God's eyes. And for some reason, that's what I always understood. I never really doubted it. I'm not trying to brag, not trying to be like, oh, my faith is easier than yours, but it was just something that I understood very well. And it was almost easy for me to understand, just being like, this guy really does love you. And the more I dove into the Word, and the more I read, and the more I researched, I was like, this is legit. Like, it's real. Especially when you look back on the science of things and how Jesus really walked, and he really was here. I just find that to be so cool to be able to look back and be like, this is solid evidence, You can't deny this stuff. At least not in my mind. But yeah, going through high school with a Christian's perspective and a growing Christian's perspective was what really defined me into the guy I am now. And as much as I couldn't see it, when I saw how my life was changing at 9 years old when I was diagnosed with diabetes, I was like, this is going to change my life. I don't know if it's going to be for the better or for worse, but I know this is going to change my life. And as troublesome and as scary and as stressful as it is at times, and granted, I'm not perfect when it comes to diabetes. I'm not perfect when it comes to anything. We're human. But it was definitely a blessing in disguise in my life. And I feel like God has been showing me so many of those lately, that he puts you through struggles to define you and to forge you, in a sense. Because I like to compare it to steel. How sometimes when you're forging metal in general, you have to heat it up to such a temperature that it becomes so brittle a single tap could shatter it. But in the end, it's one of the toughest materials in the entire world. And I feel like God really, really reflects that when it comes to faith, when it comes to struggles, or anything. So that's basically my testimony. So whatever you're going through right now, just know that in the future, He can use it for His glory. And that's what's important here. So I love you guys. I hope you got something out of this, and I can't wait to see you all tonight. See you later.